Dear ladies and gentlemen, today I would like to say a few words on the recent speech produced by the Pope of Rome, or to be more specific, by a very strange old gentleman who is now wearing the title of the head of Roman Catholic Church. I mean the speech made during his visit to Moscow. You probably know the details of that speech. If you don't, you can double check it on the net, but I can tell you in a few words. Pretending that he is struggling for peace, he addressed Roman Catholics of Russia and of Ukraine and persuaded them to submit to the evil represented by the Kremlin. That is a very serious blow on our church. I'm speaking as a devoted Roman Catholic. And not only on our church, but on each and every Roman Catholic in the world. And each one has been deeply hurt by that bunch of incredible statements. Of course, as a good Catholic, I shouldn't question what the Pope of Rome is saying. But maybe I'm a bad Catholic. Although I was baptized Catholic and I'll die as a Catholic as well, no matter what those officials of Vatican are saying or doing. But at the same time, I'm taking the liberty of criticizing them, each and every of those officials, even if one of them is the Pope. I should add to the above that not only the old man managed to hurt our church and us, but also those cardinals who voted for him, who elected him as a Pope of Rome, and also those in the darkness who are behind those cardinals. Of course, in the previous centuries, our church already has been run by criminals, murderers, perverts, etc. Well, in the Holy Bible it says that there will be days when the temples will be filled with demons. That is happening right now. That was happening in the past. However, our church managed to withstand those blows and managed to survive. Hopefully, we will withstand those blows as well, and our church will keep surviving. However, the most important thing is that we should be able to make right conclusions. And if we make those conclusions, we will fall down, but we will get up with our hands not empty. That's the major thing I wanted to share with you. Now I would like to say a few words about some secondary remarks of the Pontiff. Several times, addressing Roman Catholics of Russia and Ukraine, he mentioned that they should be proud of the great Russian Empire. Yes, there was Russian Empire. It existed for a couple centuries. But was it great? Maybe only in terms of the territory, but that's not enough. And who actually ruled that empire? The Pope mentioned Catherine the Great and Peter the Great. Well, Catherine the Great was 100% German. Peter the Great was reportedly half Georgian, half God knows whom. But that doesn't matter. The empire was so enlightened and so good that Roman Catholics of Poland, Belarus, Lithuania, and partially Latvia raised arms against it 3 times in history. 3 major rebellions crushed by the Tsarist armies. Also, we shouldn't forget that the Russian Empire was very cruel towards Roman Catholics and tried to suppress them with all its might. Not to mention as well that Vladimir Putin belonged to KGB, and that secret service was also persecuting Roman Catholics. Nevertheless, the so-called Pope of Rome, the man who claims to be Pope of Rome, is submitting to that evil. Well, his choice. We are not supporting it. And another thing, he said a few words about the great Russian culture. What was that culture? Those of you who heard my lectures probably know that this was a culture of a very limited, very small elite, which ethnically wasn't even Russian. And that culture was imitation, if not mockery, of the culture of West European nations. French, German, English one, that's it. Not to mention that the majority of contemporary Russians have nothing to do with those people who created that culture and for whom it was created. Absolute majority of contemporary Russians, including its dictator Vladimir Putin, are the descendants of oppressed slaves. And the slavery in Russia was abolished only at the end of the 19th century. And that culture, by the way, prospered only during the 19th century. There was no such thing as Russian culture before that, and of course it was destroyed by the Communist Revolution of 1917. The other Russians, contemporary Russians, who are not the descendants of slaves, they are descendants of the oppressed residents of Jewish shtetls. And the remaining are the representatives of oppressed peoples and tribes of Siberia, Urals, and North Caucasia. So none of those three groups of Russians, including the first one, the descendants of slaves, none of those groups can consider that culture theirs. It's not theirs, it's not about them, it was not created by those of their breed. So that's all I wanted to say today. Have a lovely rest of the day, and bye-bye.